Here we go with day one of ceiling insulation installation. I bought 40mm Celotex insulation board to fill all the gaps between the ribs in the ceiling, which we're securing using Sikaflex and mastic tape. The idea is then to support them while that sets using something called a dead man, which is essentially a prop. Then I'm filling all the gaps between the ribs and the Celotex with expanding foam. Once this is dried, I can shave off the excess foam and seal everything with multiple layers of aluminium foil tape. This should hopefully create a vapor barrier. Sounds simple, right? Well, where things started to get complicated was the fact that on the inside of the ceiling in certain places we've added wooden supports which we secure the solar panel fixings into. To ensure the insulation board creates a nice horizontal surface and we don't lose any head height, we need to mark out where the ceiling protrusions are and then recess the insulation board accordingly. Jerry took on the role of chief measurer, and I have to say, he may now have landed that role for the rest of this project because he was brilliant. When he had marked out where to cut, I got to come in for the fun part, and using the reciprocating saw, or multi-tool depending on what country you're in, I got to cut out all the recesses. This is the current state of play of the bus. We've got one piece up with our dead man holding it in place. That's the piece that I put up the other day, which actually is probably going to have to come down because I didn't really do it properly. I skipped some corners and cut some corners, and it's probably going to have to come down. But we are cutting the final piece of board for this part of the ceiling here, and then we're going to start doing some insulation. With all our insulation boards cut to size, we decided to work from the back of the bus to the front and install our first piece. We used offcuts of the insulation board as dead men to hold the boards in place. Then it was time for me to get foamy with it, and that stuff is sticky. Undoubtedly, the worst and most annoying part of this job was actually removing all the old adhesive before we could put the new insulation up. The best way I found was to use a hammer and chisel. It was one of those jobs where every time you thought you'd finished, you'd then spot some more that you'd missed. I will say that after a couple of boards, I was getting pretty good with the multi-tool. One of the things I'm enjoying about this mobility bus conversion is learning how to use lots of different power tools that I've never used before. And also, it's making me really happy that from the start I've invested in a decent set of tools that will hopefully last me a long time. Pull the whole thing down? Do it. Fine.
We nearly might have been able to use this. Wow, we got that down in one piece.
Yeah.
But what might be the hard bit
is getting the foam off.
Yeah.
Well, we might need this. It's supposed to...
Hey, that is a brilliant idea. Glue on. We could have used that on getting all these bits of glue off.
Well, we have to. I don't know if it's that. Like, I wouldn't want it to go through the.
Well,
it would go through the fiberglass.
Yeah, let's try.
Yeah, it'll be perfect for that. We are back for day 2 of ceiling installation. Say that 10 times really fast. So I am prepping the boards with Sikaflex to stick them up. Jerry's doing a brilliant job behind me of taking off all the rest of the glue off the ceiling, which feels like a never-ending task. Every time we do it, we think we've got it all, and then we come back and find more pieces. But the aim of today, because we've got most of the things prepped and because we now know what we're doing from last time, is to hopefully get all of these main boards up and foamed in, and yeah. Jerry has been diligently making dead men, apparently, is what I'm told these are called. Yeah, Jerry's been killing people by making dead men. And these are what are going to hold the rest of the insulation boards up. Everyone, it is cold and frosty, but we push on. So, as you can see above me, all of the insulation boards, couldn't remember the word for a second, have been put in and foamed on the ceiling. So my job this morning, now that I've removed all of the dead men supports, is to trim all this foam and then use the aluminium tape to tape up and seal all of these pieces, and then clean the bus a bit, and we're going on an excursion. So after a few days of insulating, we have most of the panels up. We have put the panels up, we've spray foamed in between the gaps, and then we've added aluminium tape. Obviously there's still a little bit more for me to do because I ran out of tape, but most of it's done. I just need to do the last tape, adding a few pieces around the fan, taping that up, adding a few extra pieces around the skylight and foaming and taping that up. And the last piece we haven't been able to do yet is this end bit, just because we need to remove these air handling units, and to do that we need to trace the pipes back and stop them properly, and we need to have the floor up to do that. So this part will have to wait a bit longer, but for now we have almost a fully insulated ceiling, which I'm really happy about, and it looks amazing. Okay, I have stuck the last little bits of insulation around the fan, and I've filled the holes in the skylight as well with insulation, so I'm going to foam those in and then we can tape them over, and then that's essentially almost the ceiling done. I'm going to add one more piece along here. I'm going to tidy all this up, and then yeah, we're really getting there. All the insulation around the skylight and the fan, that's the word I was looking for, is foamed. And then I did the last piece here, that's also foamed, and I've got the dead men in place holding it, which means that tomorrow I can trim all the foam, tape it up, and that is essentially the entire ceiling insulated. There you have it, another step forward in this mammoth project. How good does that ceiling look? I can already feel the difference from when I'm working in here. It's much warmer, which is amazing. We're going to pause finishing off the ceiling properly because we really have to stop procrastinating taking up the floor. We can't finish the ceiling until those air handling units are gone, and we can't get those gone without taking up the floor. So that is the next huge project to take on next week. I just wanted to thank all of you guys for your amazing comments on last week's video. Please be assured that I have read them all, and I have decided to get back up on the roof and do some adjustments to my work last week. So I will be putting in a rubber grommet for where the solar panel cables come into the bus to ensure they don't rub and short out. And I will also go up and readdress the cable housing situation to make that more durable, probably put them in some conduit and ensure that they're properly fixed. So a really big thank you to everyone who commented and gave tips and advice. I do honestly think that is the best part about YouTube, that people from all over the world can support each other, and it means that I get feedback and help from everywhere. So thank you so much, and let me know what you think of the ceiling, and we will see you next week for the floor.